Hi guys, new year, new me. Nah. Well, 2017 has arrived. I'm sure you don't need me to tell you that. You got access to a calendar, haven't you? Yeah. Okay. Well, so you know what that means though? In the context of me, lots more rock, heavy metal, punk, hardcore, whatever you like to come up. Lots of tasty releases, new discoveries, big bands dropping big albums, little bands turning into big bands, and everything in between. Oh, the exciting world of rock music. And you know what? Rock is it's coming up. It is on the rise. It's going the opposite way of Leicester City, which is that way down the toilet. This is coming out of the toilet and into the ceiling fan, and then hitting the fan and just splattering everywhere. So the whole world's covered in rock music. So that's shit. So, not the greatest analogy, I will grant you, but one of the greatest things of this year has already been released just over a week ago, and that is the new album by Code Orange called Forever. So, Code Orange, in the very loosest sense of the word, are a hardcore band, but they combine elements from outside of that sphere and they have a level of ambition which is so infrequent in that circle. It's often a circle that places guilt and a negative spin on any level of ambition and desire for success. Well, it is possible, maybe not in all cases, to push really hard and be successful and want to achieve things and want to be big while not compromising your core values, your integrity, and your sound and why people liked you in the first place, and to grow at the same time. At least that's what Code Orange seem to think. Are they right? Well, I won't keep you in suspense. I won't keep you in suspense any longer. Yes, they are. Yeah. So this album has been much hyped, certainly towards the tail end of last year. And when usually something is much hyped, I still want to make my own mind up. Don't tell me it's amazing. Don't go, you gotta listen to this, you gotta listen to this, you gotta listen to this, and try and plant seeds in my head. Just let me figure it out in my own time, yeah? Okay? I'm my own person. Just let me do it. Let me learn at my own pace. Alright? And learn at my own pace I have, and guess what? I really, really love this album. This is a continuation in a lot of ways from their previous album, I Am King, which again was not just a hardcore album, it fused elements of indie rock and avant-garde noises and soundscapes and managed to wrap it up in a nice little parcel that's just over 30 minutes long. And a lot of mainstream media latched onto it as well. So the same people that latched onto Death Heaven and things like Wolves in the Throne Room, so the more kind of hipstery magazines and even like Rolling Stone and stuff have earmarked Code Orange as one of those bands to watch. Every now and then, the more mainstream hipstery people like to dip into our scene and just pick one band out just to show how well-rounded their music taste is. And although it is kind of annoying and you think, well, it's almost like you pick something at random, in this case, one, great because you've picked one of the best ones around, and two, if it's a good band, then it's nice to have that scene get exposure. And even when they fucked off, hopefully they've turned enough people onto it that wouldn't have normally heard it to kind of stick with it and come into our world, because we are inclusive. We do want people to be a part of it, so get involved. But what we don't want to do is compromise. People need to come to us, not us to them. But I don't know why I'm saying us. I'm not putting out any groundbreaking music, although my band's pretty good, if you like a bunch of old fuckers making dated music and some nerd in the middle trying to be punk, then you'll like my band, Diceratops. Check them out. Named them after a dinosaur. Anyway, it's not about me, alright? It's about Code Orange and Forever. Now, straight out the gate, although they do a lot of different things and they have certainly got the ability to cross over to a much, much wider audience than 99.9% of their peers, make no mistake, this album, particularly from the first three songs, is fucking brutal. There are really mosh-worthy hardcore moments in here. These guys do not fuck about. If you think you're in for an easy ride just because they have been hyped as something that is a way into hardcore, that's part of the truth, but there's nasty, abrasive, monstrous metalcore moments in here. They're as heavy as anything put out by Trash Talk and Nails and all of the more power violence, brutal, for the sake of brutal bands. So there are harsh moments here, and it is a heavy listen all the way through in terms of the atmosphere it creates. Even when it's not going at full tilt, it is a really kind of oppressive, just tense atmosphere. You really feel like you're on edge. This album just grabs you by the throat, punches you in the face, and every now and then it just pulls the punch back a little bit, or the threat of the punch is there. It doesn't always go for the throat. Sometimes the threat of violence is just as terrifying, if not more terrifying, than the actual violence itself. And this is something that the flow, the sequencing, is well evident of throughout the record. So yeah, the first three songs, the title track and particularly the third song, Real, are just straight out the gate monstrous hardcore songs. But there are elements there in the background and different kind of approaches that that mean it is not just 4/4 stomping two-step stuff. Although you could spin kick your fucking legs off to all of this, there's a lot more going on. So a song like Real, so the third song, has these just tense moments where you can really hear the cavernous like echo on the drums and the snare as the almost like laconically rolls along on the sticks, as just on the verge of really kind of hitting it, and it drops out, and then it's just this atmospheric sense of dread, and all of a sudden monstrous. And let me tell you, the guitar tone on here is just something else, really kind of just crushing lower than low chug, and that's thanks in large part, no surprises here, to producer Kurt Ballou, who many of you will know is the guitar player from Converge and one of the best guitar players around, full stop, a real genius, and one of the best producers around, full stop. And that is obviously evident in so much of his work, production with the Converge stuff, his own stuff on Cavell Attack, on Nails, to name but a few. So this guy knows his way around a studio, and also to create a really kind of dirty, scuzzy, raw, feral, primal sound without losing the clarity. So what I like about his production, and I'm not going to go on a big tangent about it, but what I like about his production, particularly on here, is the ability to keep things really kind of real, keep things really raw and sound like you're in the room, and, you know, rub a little bit of fucking dirt on it, but at the same time it doesn't lose clarity. And songs that have the ability to make an impact and reach a wider audience aren't hamstrung by sounding like they were produced in a shoe, you know, just making it fuzzy and lo-fi for the sake of it, and actually losing all the definition on the riffs and the instruments and stuff. So yeah, thumbs up to Kurt Ballou for another astonishing job, particularly on these guitar tones. You know, when the breakdown comes into Real, although it's probably the most cliched moment on the album, they are allowed the odd full-on meat and potatoes hardcore moment because they do it so well, and you'll be spin kicking until your ligaments snap, let me tell you that much. But a really interesting thing happens on track 4, where we get Bleeding in the Blur, which is in many ways a completely different change of pace, and in other ways completely in keeping with this oppressive dark atmosphere. The scuzz on the guitars is there. However, this is a full-on mainstream alt-rock song in structure. Now, the approach is certainly very much of a hardcore band, but there are clean melodic vocals here. There's a really catchy chorus. There are melodic guitar parts, and it is a really, really refreshing turn of pace and a complete just jut in the road all of a sudden. You think you're going one way, and then this album goes, no, we're going to take you somewhere different. And if it was just like the first 3 songs, it'd still be a fucking great album, and it'd still be probably about as good as the last album, and I'd still be talking about it in glowing terms. But it's moments like this and the way it goes, these elements of industrial music that come up later, these more lo-fi indie moments, these experimental noise moments, like the kind of the feedback, angular sort of guitar abuse that you associate with something like Fugazi, that pops up, and there's moments that sound like Ministry and Nine Inch Nails throughout. It's a real journey, and it starts off with Bleeding in the Blur and continues throughout the album. There are feral, monstrous, heavy moments, and then we get just really kind of scuzzy, low down rock moments that remind me a little bit like Gallows or something like Ugly. Just a great song. Again, clean vocals, really catchy, but really scuzzy, nasty production, and real raw performance as well. And yeah, it's a fantastic record. It has the ability to reach out far, far, well, just to reach out much, much further than so many of their peers. And it's astonishing that a band so young, 3 albums in, has already produced one of the best hardcore albums of the last 10 years. It is everything you could want from a modern hard rock, hardcore metal record. And I really, really hope it succeeds, and it is really gaining traction. And you've got to admire the ambition of a band so young, just to actually pretty much diss all of their peers and say we don't want to tour with what they've said is bargain basement metalcore bands, and or deathcore, I think that was the word they used, and then go out and just produce something like this and go, look, I know we said a bunch of shit, I know we ran our mouths, but here's what we're doing to back it up. And you know, this album just draws so many different influences from all over the place. And although the core approach is very much hardcore, and like I say, this isn't an easy ride, it's just so well done and so full on and impactful that it's just too hard to ignore. And don't miss out on it. I mean, you're probably not going to be able to miss out on it because you're going to hear a lot more about it. Like I say, it really is gaining traction. And if you like your music with integrity, with power, with just a sense of purpose, and I know this all sounds pretentious, then you need to check this album out because it's fucking great. So that's my insightful review. Fucking great. But seriously, this is hardcore with ambition, with heart, with purpose, and with boundless creativity. And it sounds like these guys are just getting started. So already the year has started off on a super, super strong note. So I'll be back soon to talk about some other stuff because I've got the new AFI album, and spoiler alert, I do like AFI quite a lot. So interested to see what I think about that, and I'll be talking about that very soon. But in the meantime, go and check out Code Orange. What are you into? What do you like? What's floating your boat? What are you looking forward to this year? Share it, like, subscribe, tell your friends. Let's have a little conversation by the medium of the internet, and I'll see you very, very soon. Bye.